It's official. We are already halfway through the show. Today we're going to have a look at episode 4, and this is one of my favorite episodes. I think it might be, yes, my favorite episode. And a lot of the questions that I had stuck in my brain from the last video, if you remember, I haven't got any answers to them, but I feel like after watching the episode today that there were lots of clues and hints, and I'm beginning to fill in the jigsaw puzzle now. So we start off with the escape, right? So the kids and Jude Law's character, they outrun the X-Wings and they get away. They have the coordinates for At-Attin. They come out of hyperspace and approach the planet, which they believe to be home. However, they soon discover is not their home. And it's kind of weird because when they come out of hyperspace, everything looks different. And there's these like weird looking machines, satellites in the sky, which could be what's left of the barrier, because we know that the planet that they landed on is not At-Attin, it's called At-Achrun. I have to check that. At-Achrun. So it's another one of these planets that the owl mentioned before, and when she showed them the scrolls and the maps, and said that there are a whole bunch of these planets, but there's only one remaining. And so that begs the question, well, what happened to the other planets? Did they get blown to pieces like Alderaan? Or at this one, no. It just seems like there's been some kind of climate disaster. As soon as they land the ship and the door opens, they walk outside and they're like, God, this place sucks. It stinks. It smells. The air tastes of ash. And then Jude Law's character says, this reminds me of my own home planet. So where was he raised? That gives us a little bit of a clue as to where he's come from. Was he from a war-torn planet during the Clone Wars? I'm not really sure. You'd have to do some math here. And also you'd have to do a lot of math because the characters in this story, I'm assuming that they're, because they're human, they only live a human lifespan. Whereas you've got other alien creatures that can live for hundreds of years, and you've got droids who can potentially live for, I don't know, thousands of years. I don't know. Like in the last episode I mentioned SM-33. Why was there a pirate ship on the At-Attin in the first place? Doesn't make any sense. And how it must be extremely old. It could even be thousands of years old. We just don't know, right? So basically, in this episode, we find out a lot about SM-33 and who he really is. He's been programmed by his old captain, who we find out has actually visited probably all of the planets that the owl mentioned, and has taken all the coordinates. He took the coordinates of At-Attin, then had them destroyed, and then gave specific instructions to SM-33 to kill anyone who even sees the coordinates, or anyone who even asks or mentions about the planet At-Attin. And at the end of this episode, he says, he just turns into the Terminator and says, "I'm going to pull your arms and legs off. I'm going to pull you limb from limb." It was kind of I didn't see that coming. Because I thought it was really cool the way that they landed on the planet, and then everything was just like a carbon copy of back home. They were like, wait, that's our high school, and wait, that looks exactly the same as the tower on At-Attin where the supervisor works. And you quickly learn that, well, maybe all of these planets were designed 100% in totally the same way. And the other odd thing is that the people who live there in this post-apocalyptic nightmare have like broken into factions, and they're now at war with each other. So you've got a couple of tribes. One's called Troyic, and the other ones are the Hattans. And it's like watching some Mad Max movie, and they don't really, I don't think any of them really know or were alive when the planets got destroyed. So they're many generations down, and they refer to the supervisor's tower as something else. They call it the sanctuary of something, and if you want to go there, we can show you the way, but it's very far and it's very dangerous, and you have to do do something first to prove that you're tough enough for the job. And it's kind of funny because the one of the tribes decides to take them in and then train them up. You're gonna be your children. You've got to be tough. You're gonna be warriors. You're too wet behind the ears. You come from a sissy planet. Neil doesn't want any of it because he's very pacifistic, and his character is just getting more adorable, and he's just so sweet. He kind of falls in love with the soldier girl, and I think the relationship between those two is pretty good. And also, like I said before, with the child acting in this show is just so amazing. There's one scene with Fern where she just has this complete emotional breakdown, and she starts crying, and she really believes this is the end of the line. We are never ever going to get home, and she's talking to Wim, and Wim is listening and trying to give her some confidence. And that whole scene, like, really, I could really feel the tension and the deep emotion. And again, compare this show's acting to that of the standard set by the Book of Boba Fett, or let's say the Acolyte. I mean, the kids really are just putting them to shame. The other very mysterious thing that happens in this show is that Jode, he gets ambushed by the At-Attin tribe, and there's only him and SM-33, and like he's completely surrounded. But then later on we find out that not only did he survive, but the At-Attins have all disappeared. Where did they go? And he said, "Oh, it's okay. I just negotiated with them, and I gave them all of your credits." And Wim is like, "You did what? You took my stuff and just gave them my money, my old Republic credits?" He's like, "Yeah, no, it's okay. Don't worry about it. I did it for you because I want to get you back home. Everything's for you, for the kids." This guy, you just don't trust him at all. And there are several theories floating around now that maybe Jude Law's character killed them all, which is pretty savage. He is a Force user, but the thing is we know that he's done really evil things before because he was a pirate. I mean, the opening scene, he has an innocent person thrown out of the hatch into space, so he wouldn't blink an eye to kill someone. So I'm a little bit worried about that. And yes, he is taking advantage of the kids, and he just wants to find the treasure on At-Attin. But I just don't know, like, what happened to the At-Attin tribe. They all just vanished without a trace. And he managed to save all of the Eope, those mammals. You've seen them before on Tatooine, right? Obi-Wan Kenobi, he had in the Kenobi, the TV series, he rode around on an Eope. Phantom Menace, Qui-Gon Jinn, they rode around on Eopes. And these ones are just a little bit different. They got horns on their heads, but they look very similar. And then suddenly, he's returned all of these Eopes back to the Troic tribe, and they're like, "Oh, that's great, thanks. How can we ever repay you?" And I'll take those 4 kids, And I was like, okay then. So they exchange, and the kids get to go back, and obviously next week they'll hop on the spaceship. But I don't know, because it's like they don't have the coordinates. So this is the problem now. We're stuck, and it's a good place because we're right in the middle of the story. And we're completely stuck. We've just found out that the only possible way of finding the coordinates to At-Attin were inscribed on one of the 9 columns in that temple, and it got destroyed. And so I think the only way they will ever find out is if they, KB's going to have to do some serious neurosurgery on SM-33's brain. Because he's the only one that has the secret. He's the only one. And And this is really interesting. So I'm just going to give you some of the names that they mentioned about the other planets. Okay, so they all start with AT, right? So, and they're all A. So there was At-Attin, At-Achrun, which is the planet that they were on, At-Arisia, At-Aravin, At-Akoda, and then obviously At-Attin. So are there some missing? I'm not sure. I can't remember off the top of my head. Were there 9 planets or 6? Maybe you can put that in the comment section below. And it seems like, yeah, every single planet is the same. And it's got this like Wizard of Oz vibe where they have a supervisor's tower, but no one's ever allowed to see the supervisor. You know, you can imagine. It's kind of weird though, because it's now last week I said no, this is not going to tie into Palpatine. This is not going to connect to the Disney sequel, but then after this episode I'm like, oh no, maybe it will, because if you remember, after the fall of the Empire there was Operation Cinder, which was a contingency plan laid out by the Emperor to basically, if any planet, you know, was held by the rebels and it posed a danger to the remnants of the Empire, he would just destroy it. And if you watch Mando in season 2, I think it is, with Bill Burr, they talk about Operation Cinder quite a bit, and we find out that actually Mandalore was turned to glass, right, after the Empire, what they did to it, the Great Purge. So I'm worrying that this thing that's called the barrier, which seems quite innocent. Oh, don't worry, it's just a barrier. It's there to protect you. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's like one of these like death rays, you know, that from Operation Cinder. I don't know, but it's kind of scary now. So right now, to be honest, I am completely brain dead as to what's going to happen next. And I think the story writing is amazing. The first 4 episodes, I think, have been fantastic. I'd give all of them a 7 or 8 out of 10. And then now I am just completely stuck. I mean, you guys, you've got to put in the comment section, what do you think's going to happen next? Because where the heck are they going to go? They have no coordinates, and they're stuck on this ship. The kids are stuck on this ship with an imposter and a liar, Jude Law, and they're also stuck on this ship with this psychotic, very, very old, rusty droid. Arr! I don't remember no At-Attin. Nobody talking about no At-Attin around here. Okay, don't forget to subscribe, and I've got plenty of videos. I did a review of episodes 1 and 2 and episodes of 3, and I've got a whole bunch of videos up on my YouTube channel talking about the action figures. I unboxed Brutus last week. He's really awesome. And the next one I'm going to unbox is Jude Law's character in the Black Series, okay? So I'm looking forward to that. All right, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. You bunch of wasteroids.